The cold metal walls of the abandoned research station hummed with an eerie silence. June Park's breath steamed in the recycled air, his hands trembling slightly as he adjusted the oxygen regulator on his worn spacesuit. Another failed mission, another dead end in the vast emptiness of space. He'd been tracking a mysterious distress signal for weeks, his small scout ship pushing its limits through asteroid fields and ion storms. The Horizon 7 research station looked like countless others he'd explored, a ghost of human ambition floating silently between star systems. Broken holographic displays flickered weakly, casting blue-green shadows across the abandoned corridors. Something moved in the corner of his eye. June spun quickly, hand instinctively reaching for the plasma cutter hanging from his utility belt. Nothing, just the rhythmic drip of coolant from a damaged environmental system. Years of space exploration had taught him that silence could be more dangerous than any visible threat. The station's life support was barely functional. Oxygen levels were dropping, and his suit's emergency reserves were running dangerously low. 2 days of rationed water had left him desperately thirsty. Each step became more difficult, his throat dry and cracked from the recycled air. A storage chamber caught his attention. Unlike the other rooms, this one seemed different. The door's sealing mechanism looked untouched, almost pristine. June's trained fingers worked quickly, bypassing the electronic lock with a series of precise movements he'd learned during his military training. The door hissed open. Inside, rows of crystalline containers lined sterile shelves. Some contained strange biological samples, others looked like experimental nutrient solutions. But one container stood out, a small iridescent flask that seemed to pulse with an inner light. Alien script wrapped around its surface. Beautiful and incomprehensible. June's survival instinct warred with his curiosity. Water. He needed water. The flask looked sealed, perfectly preserved. His suit's diagnostic system couldn't identify its contents, but it registered no immediate toxic threats. One quick scan showed basic liquid composition, mostly water-based, with complex molecular structures. Just a small sip, he muttered to himself, breaking the station's oppressive silence. The liquid tasted unlike anything he'd ever experienced, sweet yet complex, with undertones that seemed to shift and change with each moment. It was cool, refreshing, and somehow alive. Not just a liquid, but something more. As the last drop slid down his throat, June felt something change. A tingling sensation started at the base of his skull, spreading rapidly through his nervous system. His vision sharpened. Every sound became crystal clear. The distant hum of damaged machinery, the subtle vibrations of the station's core systems, even the microscopic movement of dust particles in the air. Something was happening. Outside the station's viewport, a massive solar flare erupted, painting the darkness of space in brilliant oranges and electric blues. June watched, mesmerized, as electromagnetic waves danced across the cosmic canvas. But something else was happening, something inside him. Memories that weren't his own began to flicker at the edges of his consciousness. Glimpses of strange landscapes, advanced scientific equipment, a face, no, a presence, that felt both familiar and completely alien. The liquid he'd consumed was far more than just a simple drink. He didn't know it yet, but June Park had just become part of something extraordinary. The station's emergency systems began to power down. In moments, critical life support would fail, completely. But June stood perfectly calm, feeling a new energy coursing through his body. Something had changed. Something fundamental. His mission was about to become something much bigger than a simple reconnaissance expedition. Little did June know, the liquid he'd carelessly consumed was about to transform everything he understood about human potential, alien life, and the very nature of consciousness itself. End of Part 1. The first wave of sensation hit June like a quantum surge. His body felt simultaneously heavy and weightless, as if existing in multiple dimensions at once. The research station's metallic walls seemed to breathe, pulsing with an organic rhythm he'd never noticed before. Fragments of memories that weren't his own began flooding his consciousness. Scientific equations danced behind his eyes, complex mathematical models representing interstellar communication protocols. Strange planetary landscapes with crystalline mountains and liquid atmospheric formations replaced his normal visual perception. "What's happening to me?" June whispered, his voice sounding distant and unfamiliar. His neural pathways were expanding, connecting in ways human biology had never experienced. Each breath felt like downloading massive amounts of information. The mysterious liquid was transforming his fundamental biological structure, creating neural bridges between human and alien consciousness. Suddenly, a holographic projection burst from his wrist communicator. Instead of standard interface graphics, intricate geometric patterns swirled, representing something beyond standard technological communication. Mathematical sequences transformed into visual poetry, revealing complex emotional landscapes. A distant memory surfaced, not his own. A laboratory, advanced scientific equipment, a female researcher working tirelessly on something groundbreaking. Her determination radiated through the shared consciousness. Her name echoed softly, Hannah. June's body temperature fluctuated. Sweat beaded on his forehead, then instantly evaporated. His nervous system was recalibrating, adapting to new sensory inputs. Cosmic radiation that would typically harm human cells now seemed to dance harmlessly across his skin. Outside the station's viewport, a massive gravitational anomaly began forming. Quantum strings twisted and warped, creating mesmerizing patterns that defied standard physics. June could suddenly understand its intricate mathematical structure, seeing beyond human visual limitations. His military training kicked in. Years of space exploration protocols battled against the incoming alien consciousness, but resistance was futile. The connection grew stronger with each passing moment. Technological implants hidden beneath his skin began activating autonomously. Nanobots originally designed for medical monitoring now transformed, creating advanced sensory networks. They read not just his biological data, but the electromagnetic signatures of his newfound alien connection. Equipment around the research station started responding to his unconscious mental commands. Damaged computer systems flickered back to life. Broken communication arrays realigned themselves. Something extraordinary was happening, a technological symbiosis beyond human comprehension. June's breathing synchronized with the station's life support rhythms. He could feel every mechanical system, understanding their intricate connections. Damaged coolant pipes, fractured electrical circuits. They spoke to him in a language of pure energy and potential. The memories of Hannah continued flowing. She was a researcher specializing in interspecies communication, working on a revolutionary project that could bridge vast biological differences. Her life's work was now merging with June's consciousness. Spatial awareness expanded. He could perceive quantum entanglement happening around him, invisible connections between particles, revealing the universe's hidden communication networks. Things that seemed random now appeared beautifully orchestrated. A warning signal erupted from his suit's communication system. Incoming transmission. But this wasn't a standard communication. It was a multi-dimensional information packet, carrying emotional and scientific data simultaneously. June's perspective shifted. He was no longer just observing the universe. He was experiencing it. The boundary between observer and observed had completely dissolved. The research station's core systems began a complex reboot sequence. Damaged systems repaired themselves through an unknown technological mechanism. June's transformed consciousness was somehow guiding the repair, translating alien technological principles into functional mechanics. His mind raced with possibilities. This wasn't just a biological transformation, it was an evolutionary leap. Humanity's understanding of consciousness was about to change forever. As the first wave of connection stabilized, June realized he was no longer just a human explorer. He had become something entirely new, a living bridge between species, a testament to the universe's infinite potential for connection. The first connection was complete, and nothing would ever be the same again. End of Part 2. The shared consciousness. Unfolded like a living, breathing tapestry of experience, June's mind expanded beyond its previous limitations, connecting with Hana's memories in a profound, almost intimate dance of understanding. Images of her research flashed through his perception. Advanced laboratories filled with technology that seemed more like living organisms than machines, crystalline data storage systems that pulsed with electromagnetic rhythms, experimental communication devices that could translate emotional states across species boundaries. June saw her world, through her eyes, a planet with twin suns, where gravity worked differently, and atmospheric conditions created landscapes that shifted like living, breathing entities. Massive floating research facilities hung suspended in sky rivers of luminescent gases. Creatures that were part biological, part technological, moved with a grace that defied human understanding. His muscle memory began responding to memories that weren't his own. Precise laboratory techniques, complex mathematical calculations, intricate technological manipulations, all downloaded directly into his neural pathways. It wasn't just information, it was lived experience. The station around him transformed. Damaged systems began rebuilding themselves, guided by the combined intelligence of June and Hana's merged consciousness. Broken communication arrays realigned. Fractured power systems recalibrated. The entire research station became a living organism, responding to their shared will. Quantum entanglement became visible, not as a scientific concept, but as a tangible reality. Invisible threads connected everything: particles, systems, living beings. June could see the universe's fundamental communication network, a complex web of interactions happening simultaneously, across multiple dimensions. His body underwent subtle transformations. Cellular structures adapted, incorporating alien biological principles. Nanobots in his bloodstream evolved, creating hybrid technological-biological networks. He was becoming something beyond human, a living bridge between species. Memories of Hana's research revealed a profound truth. Her work wasn't just about communication, it was about understanding the fundamental interconnectedness of conscious beings. She had discovered that consciousness wasn't limited by biological boundaries. It was a universal language. Sudden technological alerts erupted across the station's systems. Multiple communication channels activated simultaneously. But these weren't standard transmissions. They were multi-dimensional information packets carrying emotional, scientific, and experiential data. June experienced her most significant scientific breakthrough, a communication protocol that could translate emotional states across species. Not just words or mathematical languages, but pure experiential understanding. The ultimate form of empathy. The station's core systems responded to their merged consciousness. Damaged quantum drives began self-repairing. Complex mathematical algorithms solved themselves. It was as if the entire technological infrastructure was an extension of their combined intelligence. Outside, the cosmic environment seemed to react. Electromagnetic storms calmed. Gravitational anomalies stabilized. The universe itself appeared to be listening, responding to the profound connection happening within the research station. Hana's memories revealed her deepest motivation. She wasn't just a researcher, she was an explorer of consciousness, seeking to break down the barriers that separated different forms of intelligent life. Her life's work was about creating understanding where there was only separation. June's military training merged with her scientific approach. Strategic thinking combined with deep empathetic understanding. He could now perceive conflict resolution not as a combat strategy, but as a complex communication challenge. The merged consciousness revealed the true potential of interspecies communication. It wasn't about translation, it was about fundamental understanding. Experiencing the world through another's perspective, feeling their emotions, understanding their deepest motivations. Technological systems around him began responding to emotional states. Computer interfaces transformed based on psychological needs. Communication arrays adjusted their frequencies to match emotional wavelengths. Technology became an extension of consciousness. As the connection deepened, June realized something profound. This wasn't just a scientific breakthrough. This was an evolutionary leap for intelligent life, a demonstration that consciousness could transcend biological, technological, and dimensional boundaries. The shared consciousness continued to expand, promising discoveries beyond imagination. End of Part 3. The research station groaned like a living creature, its damaged systems struggling against complete shutdown. June's transformed consciousness became a lifeline, threading through broken circuits and fractured power networks with an almost supernatural precision. Survival wasn't just about maintaining equipment anymore. It was about understanding the fundamental language of technological existence. Each damaged system told a story, a complex narrative of stress, potential, and hidden resilience. Coolant systems that had been critical failures moments ago now realigned themselves. Quantum drives that were moments from complete destruction began rebuilding their internal structures. June could see the repair process like a living blueprint, understanding each molecular interaction with crystal clarity. His hands moved differently. Now, no longer just human appendages, they were precision instruments guided by a merged intelligence that understood technology as a living, breathing entity. Damaged communication arrays reconstructed themselves under his touch, responding to thoughts he hadn't even consciously formed. A massive energy surge threatened the station's core systems. Where a human would see certain destruction, June now perceived a complex mathematical dance of potential solutions. Electromagnetic waves redirected, quantum fluctuations stabilized, the impossible became routine. Memories from Hana's research flooded his perception. Experimental technologies that could transform entire planetary ecosystems, communication protocols that could bridge impossible gaps between different forms of intelligent life. Her life's work was now flowing through his veins, transforming his very understanding of survival. Outside the station's viewport, a massive gravitational storm approached. Cosmic radiation twisted into complex geometric patterns. Normal human technology would be instantly destroyed. But June's transformed consciousness saw it as an opportunity, not a threat. The station's artificial gravity began to fluctuate. Normal. Humans would be thrown around violently. But June moved with impossible grace, his body adapting to multiple gravitational states simultaneously. Each movement was a mathematical equation, each step a complex navigation of physical laws. Survival systems that had been offline for years suddenly sparked to life. Advanced medical bays recalibrated. Experimental research equipment hummed with renewed potential. It was as if the entire station was responding to the new consciousness that now inhabited its core systems. Holographic displays erupted around him, showing multiple dimensional perspectives. Not just visual information, but complete experiential data. He could see potential futures, understand complex technological interactions that would take normal researchers centuries to comprehend. A distant communication signal caught his attention, not through standard radio frequencies, but through a multidimensional information network he now understood intimately. It was a rescue beacon, but also something more, a complex message carrying layers of emotional and scientific data. His body continued its transformation. Nanobots in his bloodstream created hybrid biological-technological networks. Cellular structures adapted, incorporating alien technological principles. He was becoming a living bridge between human potential and advanced technological evolution. The station's life support systems told a story of resilience. Each damaged circuit, each fractured power line became a testament to survival. June could repair them not just through mechanical understanding, but through a deep, almost empathetic connection with the technology itself. Experimental research data from decades of work began organizing itself. Complex scientific discoveries that had been lost now reassembled themselves. Technological breakthroughs that would have taken generations to understand were now instantly comprehensible. Survival was no longer about maintaining basic existence. It was about understanding the fundamental potential of conscious adaptation. June had become more than a human survivor. He was a living demonstration of evolutionary potential. The cosmic environment outside seemed to respond to his transformed consciousness. Gravitational anomalies stabilized, electromagnetic storms calmed. It was as if the universe itself was acknowledging the profound transformation happening within the research station. As system after system came back online, June realized this was more than a survival mission. This was a fundamental reimagining of what it meant to be an intelligent, adaptive being in a complex, interconnected universe. The revelations of survival continued to unfold, promising discoveries beyond imagination. End of Part 4. The rescue team's spacecraft approached the research station with cautious precision. Standard protocol dictated maximum defensive preparations when encountering an unknown situation, but nothing could have prepared them for what they were about to discover. Initial scans showed something impossible. The abandoned research station, previously registered as a dead zone, was now generating massive energy signatures. Complex quantum emissions that defied current technological understanding pulsed from every system. June stood at the station's primary observation deck, his body now a living network of biological and technological integration. The rescue team's initial communication attempts were met with something beyond standard response protocols. Pure information streams that carried emotional, scientific, and experiential data simultaneously. Unidentified energy signature detected, the lead navigation officer reported, his voice trembling slightly. The station's systems are alive? Quantum communication arrays began responding in patterns that suggested sentience. Mathematical sequences transformed into visual poetry, revealing communication mechanisms far beyond human comprehension. The entire research station had become a living, breathing entity. June's transformed consciousness extended beyond his physical form. He could perceive the approaching rescue team's emotional states, understand their technological systems, read the intricate details of their mission parameters. Where humans saw a rescue operation, he perceived a complex dance of potential interactions. The station's exterior began shifting. Damaged hull sections reconstructed themselves. Broken solar panels realigned with impossible precision. Advanced technological systems that had been dormant for decades suddenly hummed with renewed potential. It was as if the entire structure was responding to June's merged consciousness. Holographic displays erupted across multiple dimensional planes, not just visual information, but complete experiential data streams. The rescue team watched in stunned silence as complex scientific discoveries from decades of research reorganized themselves in real time. Hannah's memories continued flowing through June's consciousness. Her life's work, a revolutionary approach to interspecies communication, was now becoming a living demonstration. The boundaries between human technology and conscious adaptation were dissolving. Prepare containment protocols, the mission. Commander ordered, but his words felt meaningless against the profound transformation happening before them. June's body had become more than a biological entity. Nanobots and alien biological structures had created a hybrid system that defied current scientific understanding. He was a living bridge between human potential and advanced technological evolution. The rescue team's most advanced scanning equipment struggled to categorize what they were witnessing. Biological signatures merged with technological networks. Consciousness expanded beyond traditional dimensional limitations. June represented something entirely new. A fundamental reimagining of intelligent existence. Experimental research data from multiple decades began streaming through open communication channels. Scientific breakthroughs that would have taken generations to understand were now instantly accessible. The universe seemed to be revealing its deepest secrets through this single transformed being. Gravitational systems around the station began responding to June's consciousness. Electromagnetic fields adjusted. Quantum entanglement became visible as intricate communication networks. The cosmic environment itself appeared to be listening, responding to the profound transformation. We're dealing with something beyond current classification, the lead scientific officer whispered, her instruments showing readings that challenged everything she understood about biological and technological interaction. June's perception expanded. He could see potential futures, understand complex interactions across multiple dimensional planes. The rescue mission was no longer just a recovery operation. It had become a first contact scenario with humanity's next evolutionary stage. The Sci-Fi Station's core systems continued their complex dance. Damaged technologies repaired themselves, research data reorganized, communication networks expanded. Each moment revealed new layers of potential, new understanding of what intelligent adaptation could mean. As the rescue team prepared to make physical contact, they realized this was more than a mission. This was a fundamental moment in human evolutionary history. June had become a living demonstration of consciousness beyond traditional biological limitations. The universe seemed to hold its breath, waiting to understand the profound transformation that was about to unfold. A new beginning was not just possible, it was happening right before their eyes. End of Part 5.